So this guy, they tweeted this out. This is a Zen master and meditation teacher. His name is Nissim Aman. He gives mental and practical tips to Israeli soldiers who he refers to as princes and princesses in an instructional video of how to kill.
What's the prince? That's a weird part.
Watch this. You want to watch? Here it comes.
Yeah.
Buddhists that are teaching murder, Kurt. The next thing you're going to tell me is Mother Teresa was a child trafficker. Oh, wait a minute.
You never saw any samurai movies or that? There's been about this the whole time. Is like get really good at chopping people down.
להיות לוחם על. ההבדל בין להיות לוחם על ולהיות לוחם סתם זה במיינד. תשמעו, מה שצריך זה לשמור על קור רוח ודיוק. ובמעשיות של זה אומר, כשאתם יורים, לוקחים את החצי שנייה לכוון, ואז לירות, ואז לשחרר.
When you shoot, take a half a second to breathe.
This is Sam Harris's guy.
I think it's the Sam Harris's guy.
Yeah, it's the Sam Harris's guy, yeah.
In spiritual terms, this guy's the equivalent of the shop teacher dude with those giant fake tits, and nobody can say a word about it.
Focus on your breathing. Focus on your breathing.
וזה כל ההבדל בין לוחמי על לאנשים שנבהלים ויורים, ועוד שני דברים. הכי גרוע זה לראות בצרורות, לא פוגעים ובזבזים המון תחמושת.
This is to get people that are civilians that have to do this, that weren't like enlisted. Everybody has to. Of course. The last war they had in Lebanon, they pulled out after, years ago. They said it was inconclusive war with Hezbollah, but they only had like 10, 20 casualties, and people were like, get them out.
I like how he's telling you don't waste bullets. That's what he's telling you.
Yeah, no, those aren't free.
That's the Prussian military school that our education system is based on. The Prussian, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The soldiers weren't shooting. We were talking about this.
Oh, really?
They don't want to shoot, people naturally, and they had to teach them. And then our school system, we imported the Prussian army method. Then Rockefeller and Carnegie added their spin. But that's just standard stuff you do to make normal people
into killers.
Into killers, yeah.
Okay, here we go. You don't waste a lot of ammunition. That's what he's saying. After all, the gun barrel, there's a little pipe.
There is no gun barrel.
That returns the gas and it brings the bolt backwards, spits out the bullet to bring in a new bullet into the chamber. And the pipe pushes upwards. And that's why shooting in bundles, completely wasteful.
That's a strange...
you certainly want to be frugal when you're shooting people.
I mean, that is a strange thing to add to the whole mindfulness. Things like, and don't waste the ammo.
Don't waste the ammo.
Remember, that's not free. That's not free.
What do you think? Bullets grow on trees?
Yeah, no, somebody
Look
pays
how
for
much
that.
ammo you go through.
The first thing is to aim, take a breath, and shoot a single or Dow shots. Bundle's not a good thing.
Come on.
אבירים היו עושים דו-קרב, מי שהיה מנצח זה לא מי שיותר מהיר כמו במערב הפרוע. בדרך כלל מה שקורה זה שהיד שלהם הייתה רועדת, מרוב פחד. וכל הגדולה היא להיות, לנשום, לעצור את הנשימה,
לכוון, aim without fear, be precise and shoot. And the third part, after the battle, we need to go back, rest, and say, everything's okay.
Don't think of guilt.
Don't think of guilt. Don't think of anxieties. How about compassion? Don't agonize yourself. Just try to rest.
I'm curious.
When you get home, that's when you can worry about it. But don't, after the battle, just rest your little head.
You know, I'd like to find out what their PTSD, and I don't know how you'd find accurate numbers, right? Because it's all so propagandized compared to our PTSD. Like, what are the training because we all got to be sharing training methods and stuff. This one's like, this looks like an emergency. Like, we're going to have to draw up a lot of people that weren't meant to be soldiers, like right now, and we got to figure some stuff out, start get this Buddhist guy.
That's what this is.
This is like, we got to find the finest techniques to get people that weren't really ready for this. Ready in a hurry.
And he calls them prince and princesses.
I mean, I would be insulted. I'd be like, don't call it. All right. It goes,
אבל לא בקרב.
but not during
But
battle.
that don't
ותוך כדי שאתם שם, תהיו קולים,
be cool.
בלי מסכנות.
Be cool without compassion or mercy. This is a Buddhist teaching you how to rid your mind of those awful human traits of compassion and mercy. What a better use of Buddhist meditation than to rid yourself of compassion and mercy. Oh, don't have that.
I mean,
just live in the moment. All those children you killed, that was in the past. There is no past. That doesn't exist anymore. There's only now.
There's only now.
Also keep in mind, this is for people, because not everybody is a religious cuckoo there. A bunch of people, it's a fusing of people that don't really believe in the Bible part of it.
Yes.
So what do they have? You got to get kind of new agey goop stuff for them,
They got it.
This is for like the liberal side. The Bible side, they don't need none of this.
That's right.
This vegan crap. They can just go right in it,
בלי ערכים עצמיים. נסיכים ונסיכות.
Princes and princesses. But you're not the kind of prince and princesses that lead people into battle, that tell them, that order them into battle. You're the kind of princes and princesses that have to go into battle. That's the totally different kind of princes and princesses.
Oh, good night, sweet prince.
Good night, sweet prince. Go risk your life.
אבל לאומית, לוחמי
Our
העל,
national pride, our
Who is
super
this man?
fighters.
דיוק,
Take the time,
סבלנות,
precision, patient,
אורך
long
רוח.
breaths.
וזה
long
מה
breaths.
שיהפוך אתכם
And that's what will turn you
ללוחמים
into the
הכי
most
מוצלחים
successful fighters.
תעשו את העבודה.
This is
הם
so
מחכים לכם
dark.
פה, ותחזרו הביתה.
Get the job done. We're waiting for you.
Those hostages are probably already. I watched Michael Rappaport, by the way, being play stupid,
Yeah.
saying like the hostages. I hate to say they're probably already gone. Remember that movie about Idi Amin where they're begging? There's a scene where like, please, and like, we don't deal with we don't deal with terrorists.
Terrorists, right?
That's from them, right? That's their technique.
Yeah.
Your kids are gone. Your hostages are gone.
Some people commented on this. Compassion is basically the central tenet of Buddhism. This is a grotesque charlatan.
No, we feel terrible for them, but we can't waste ammo.
He's a Zen Zionist. That's nice. Double
Hey,
Z.
have some compassion for how much bullets are.
Zionism
This
is
is why they just bomb the refugee camps from the air, because if they send ground troops in, it'll waste too many bullets.
That's
You know,
right.
Zionism
Zionism.
got to keep account of the bullets.
Sushi says Zionism is a caricature at this point. Distilled everything evil and put it on a soy face.
We kind of have that too. It's just like this is like your immigrant parents made the ad. Your parents were like, I know the exact ad to be shown around, and it's always like, oh, like, but we have the same exact stuff here. Like we get the same propaganda.
Oh,
but
I
a little
know.
slicker.
No doubt. The court is corrupt. The fields are overgrown with weeds. The granaries are empty. Yet there are those dressed in fineries with swords at their sides, filled with food and drink, and possessed of too much wealth. This is known as taking the lead in robbery. Far indeed is this from the way. So I just wanted to read that to you. I thought that was nice. So this guy, Dore Conforti, says he does not say anything even remotely like no compassion. This is an error in translation. This is purposely misguiding. He doesn't tell us what the real... I like when people jump in there. They never tell you what it really says, though. So here, this other person says, this Kiki says, don't go breaking my heart. He says to keep cool so no innocent people get killed and to deal with the trauma thoroughly when they get home. Oh, well, that's much better.
That's not what he said. He said, don't waste bullets.
He said, don't waste bullets.
The other kids in the friendship song, they kind of told me there's no innocence over there. Like all of them, or all the Arabs are guilty.
So
they tell each other that all the time. That's why, Kurt, when you talked about how, like we have propaganda here that's a lot slicker, it is a lot slicker because that's how they sell this war to people with American sensibilities. Every once in a while now, because of social media, we get a peek behind the curtain of what the Israelis tell themselves, whether it's the kids in the Hitler Youth Choir or this guy here. They are unapologetic blood and soil fascists. They make no bones about it. They make no effort to hide it. They send the retired guys over here to talk to Anderson Cooper, to give Americans the sort of watered down version to sort of get us on board. But part of what the internet and social media has done is it's given us a peek into what they actually tell themselves. And you get it unfiltered from guys like him and the Chorus, all these places.
Well, some of the stuff they tell us is not that good, I have to say. The Wolf Blitzer
No, it's
thing,
not, but it's not.
That
it's
Wolf
not, but
Blitzer
it's not
one
this
sticks
guy.
in
You
my
won't see
mind.
this guy on CNN. I want Anderson Cooper interview this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, so just
Tell him the Jew in me recognizes the Jew in you.
So just this is a book called Zen at War, the second edition by Brian Dezan Victoria, and it's about 50%. This guy here says, I won't say 50% of the Zen people joined in the war in Japan.
Yeah, it's
And here's the guy who's got the speech impediment, and he's got something to say.
We talk about people like Hitler and so on. Listen, I read a book on the history of SS, German, and especially a chapter on Reinhard Heydrich. He organized, Wannsee Conference, Holocaust, and so on. What struck me so much is that, what this guy, if there ever was a evil guy, it's him. You know what he was doing in the evenings? He gathered with his SS friends.
Playing Mozart.
And they, even better, Beethoven string quartets. And I think that's the really tragic, depressing thing. You cannot say, oh, they must have gotten it wrong or whatever. No, the tragic lesson of history is, and I can go on through, read a book which is the Bible for me. Brian Victoria, a Zen monk, it's called Zen at War. It demonstrates how the large majority of Zen Buddhists in Japan not only totally supported Japanese military expansionism, but provided the properly Zen Buddhist justification for it. To amuse you very shortly, DT, Daisetsu Taro Suzuki, when we were young hippies, the glorious propagator in the hippie West of Buddhism. He not only fully supported Japanese invasion of China, but he faced this problem. I have to kill you in war. He said, if I remain caught in the illusion of Maya ordinary reality, I perceive myself as an agent killing you. I may hate you, who knows, but it's difficult for me. Then he says, if you go through a Buddhist enlightenment, you see that you have no self, you became a passive observer of your acts, and I no longer perceive me stabbing a knife into your eye as my act, but just as he puts it, my knife is dancing around, and in the cosmic dance of phenomena, your eye seems to stumble upon it. Was he psychopath or not?
Well said, Slavo Zizek.
So that's the other thing. The Buddhist stuff is for the people who are going out to shoot. The children singing, I don't think that's for the soldiers. That's for the people back home to keep their bloodlust up and their anger. But when the people actually got to be soldiers, you don't want them emotional. You want them serene to get the job done. Like there's the Warrior with Tom Hardy. It's like their MMA, these brothers in a tournament. And the guy listens to Beethoven. The trainer always makes him listen to Beethoven while he's doing it to calm his mind down so he can do all the fighting moves. It's like a system for calming you down. Like really is all it is.
So that's so I didn't know this. I didn't know any of this. So I'm learning a lot through this Israeli genocide of the Palestinians. It's been a real education for me. I learned what Zionism is. I didn't really even know what it was. I didn't know anything about anything. But I'm really, a fast study over here. And anything you want to say about this, Keaton?
I mean, I'm not qualified to parse which religions are bloodier than others. I know they all have a lot of blood on their hands, but generally, religion is used to rationalize and explain human behavior. And often the human behavior that needs the most rationalization and the most explanation is the worst kind, right? And so, it's not uncommon to look to religion to explain the worst in people.
Talk about the worst of people. Have you seen this T-shirt? So that's a pregnant woman in Muslim garb. I don't know what you call it. And it's a rifle scope. And it says 1 shot, 2 kills.
Wow, they are really cheap with bullets. A little on the nose, guys.
Yeah, my God, yeah.
Look, you take all the napkins.
Oh my God.
So October 7th justifies any evil thing you could ever think of.
Hey, if you just want to wear that T-shirt, I'm cool with it. That's how you want to take your anger out. Nobody's dying. The thing where you go and blow up that Wolf Blitzer thing, I have the feeling of Wolf Blitzer when I think about it. Of him like Wait, you just blew up. There's 400 people in there. Yeah, it sucks. You gotta be Buddhist about it, Wolf. And he's like, he goes, "We should get the guy." He goes, "We don't know at this time." And Wolf's like, "We gotta go."
I mean, how can you? How does this help you win the PR battle? So you're just revealing yourself that because something bad happened to you in your head, now you've just given yourself permission to become the most evil, darkest thing in the world that I couldn't even imagine that. I couldn't have thought that up, but someone else could.
By the way, a little bit beyond the eye for an eye principle from the Hebrew scriptures. But
yeah, so the Hebrew scripture, Kurt, explain to people what the eye for the eye, because Gandhi I think misunderstood it. What does the eye for the eye mean?
Well, I didn't think of this. Like, well,
right.
It's to keep you from going beyond an eye for an eye.
Right.
It's to keep, it's like, okay, that's not fair.
It's to keep your retaliation commensurate with the crime that was committed against you.
However, that's only for people in your own nation.
So like, remember when
Canaanites.
Remember when Trump said he was going to slaughter the families of the terrorists? Well, that's what Israel's actually doing.
Yes.
Right.
And everybody was like, "Oh my God, you can't say that, Trump." Well, now Joe Biden is enabling that. So this idea again that it all comes back around. This idea that Trump was it. The people who get so outraged by Trump are the people who are most like Trump.
Well,
but they put it in their unconscious, so they think they're not. And so then we can have Trump be that. He's like the whipping boy. Trump is like, "Oh, thank God we're not that."
Right.
But you are that, because now you're revealing it. This reveals it, and the fact that you're supporting it. And the Senate Democrats put out a poll saying that 88% of Democrats support Joe Biden. Well, that's because most of the Democrats quit being Democrats. That they don't tell you that part.
I mean, you covered on your show a couple weeks ago, or was it last week, when Michael Rappaport made that video saying I might have to vote for Pig Dick Trump.
Yes.
That's because Trump is perceived in Rappaport's mind to be more hawkish on this issue. Even though they are the same, they're the exact same. The only difference between Trump and Biden when it comes to Israel is the emotional processing of the public. And it's like that in a lot of issues, whether it's the southern border, right? The only difference between Trump and Biden is Biden says, well, we have to, respect the immigrants and the families, but we have to lock them in the cages. Whereas Trump says, well, no, fuck them. This is our country. We'll lock them in cages and we'll turn them away. The material reality is the exact same. The only difference is how the public sort of emotionally processes what's going on. Democrats couch all of their atrocious shit in feelings of regret and these sort of superficial expressions of compassion for the victims of what they do.
Good taste.
Whereas Donald Trump says, well, fuck the victims of what we do. It's our country. That's it. The only difference between them is how we as the public respond and process what's happening. The reality is the exact same thing. So Trump will say, well, we have to back Israel 100% and all the way and no regrets, no apologies. Biden says, I wish you guys would be a little more careful. Oh, you can't? Oh, all right. Well, I guess we have to support you anyway. That's it. That's literally the only difference. Literally the only difference. But going back to what I said earlier, where Kurt was saying how the Americanized propaganda, the Americanized Zionist propaganda has a subtlety to it that this stuff doesn't. I mean, look at that graph. You won't see those shirts on CNN because they try to hide that from us.
Well, do you remember Shiite Happens, and it was a target with an Arab on it, and it said Shiite Happens in the first Kuwait, with the Kuwait one with Iraq?
Okay, no, I don't remember that.
I remember that was on the news, and the news was saying, oh, this is bad, but everybody loved it. Like, the pregnant woman is a little bit beyond just putting some, that's where you see like the real difference. But I remember when Obama blew up that kid with, who was the terrorist? Looked like Adrian Brody from Al Qaeda.
Right, yeah.
He was an American citizen.
His 16-year-old kid.
Okay, and I remember hearing, well, he's an American citizen. And I was like, citizenship revoked, motherfucker. That's how I felt, right? And his son, like, well, don't go see your terrorist dad then. That's how I felt. And what I didn't think about was if they would do that to somebody, they would do that to me.
They would do that to you.
So this guy wearing this shirt, your own government, if you get grabbed, buddy, they're going to shoot through you like you're a pregnant Arab lady to get to the terrorist. Whatever they're going to do to the enemy, they'll do it to you. That's a really good principle I did not think of. I think until you said it on the show.
Yeah, well,
they'll do it to you too.
So,
Right.
I mean, I say that about the U.S. military. Whatever we do to people overseas, it's just training for what they're going to do to us back at home. And it didn't take long for them to, after we started occupying Arab countries and slaughtering people by the millions, that our police forces became completely militarized and also being trained by the IDF.
You know, I thought the
Just
bad
like that.
part, the bad part of Marxist,
And we're still the world's biggest penal colony in the world. We imprison in raw numbers more people than China.
hey,
We imprison more anybody. So this idea that we're and this is an argument I had with chess champion Gary Kasparov at the Freedom Forum in Oslo, which is anything but a freedom forum. It's a front for slaughtering people and taking their land. I said the same thing to him. I go, how could you say the United States? How come you don't include them in the violators of human rights? Because that's what it's all about. They're going to target countries that were violating human rights. I go, the United States imprisons more people than any other country in the world, more than China. We're the world's biggest penal colony. And you are Putin's body. That's what he kept saying to me.
hey, you know, it's weird. Blockbuster Video closed down, but Guantanamo stayed open.
Hey, so somebody comes in. I love the apologists. Probably this is an AI-generated bullshit. A Zen master or a Buddhist would follow at least this tenet. I don't know what this is. Just tenet says, but
all the good stuff of the religion. You don't get this. It's like if you like Star Wars or some goofy thing, and then a company takes it and they remake it into what they want it to be. So some guy makes up whatever his faith thing is that people get into it. It ain't going to stay this. Whatever you're doing, it's definitely not what the guy who came up with it thought of. 9 times out of 10, there's always a David Miscavige character who markets it to the government or in some way. And like Mormons had that. The government, they're real good for government work because they don't do drugs or even drink coffee or anything.
Yeah.
So all these things are going to be once it's an institution, you could go ahead and just be like, think of it like a corporation. Just take the part you like.
Yeah. We're doing live comedy shows in Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Michigan, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Boston. Plus, we're going to put a date in Edmonton, Canada, plus Vancouver. See ya. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.